Hi, I'm Deacon Nick, and in the past videos we've been talking about the Holy Spirit, the intellectual gifts, and the charismatic gifts. And we also indicated that these gifts are to be used in our life in every facet of it. And so today I would like to just change the topic and the subject matter and just go into a different area of our videos so that you can utilize the gifts that you already have as you are the temple of the Holy Spirit. And so the topic I would like to touch today is changing the world, but me first. And in our lives, we are always taking some kind of a test. As we grow as students of education, we all take tests. So today, I'd like to give you a little test, which is simple, yet an eye-opener, and it is profound. The question that I'd like to pose to you is, how would you define the spiritual journey of your life? Well, it's a simple question, but not very simple to answer. It takes a little time. But here are some of the things that will help you to open your mind and think about that journey. 1, have a spiritual director. Live simply. Recognize the presence of God. Listen to other people. Speak kindly to other people. Accept the will of God. Persevere. Acknowledge your faults. Accept others the way they are. Be centered and serene. Be honest about yourself. Be willing to learn from others. Would you believe that these simple questions and this simple form of a test was written in the year 520? It defines the spiritual journey that works if you work it. These items represent 12 steps of humility that form the backbone of Saint Benedict. These 12 items represent 12 steps of humility that form the backbone of the rule of Saint Benedict. Now, Benedict wants us to list these same steps, but in a very special way. And so he has developed this order in which he wishes us to recognize them. First, recognize the presence of God. How many times have you heard it said, you are the temple of the Holy Spirit. You have the Spirit of God that raised Jesus from the dead dwelling within you. So recognize the presence of God within you and around you. Accept the will of God. You may plan one thing for yourself, but see where God fits into that plan and let Him plan it for you. So accept His will. Accept spiritual direction. We don't all know everything. We have to learn. I have to learn. I have a spiritual director. You need a spiritual director. These are people who have already made a spiritual journey and know the pitfalls. So listen to them. Persevere. It's a tough journey, and you have to keep going. And once you keep going, you'll go over the hump, and you'll suddenly say, that wasn't that bad. And then there'll be another one. But you must persevere. And who is the one that gives us the direction? Jesus. He fell going to Golgotha. He could have stayed there, but he didn't. He got up and went on. And so that's what he's asking us to do. Persevere. Acknowledge our faults. Nobody likes to show the world your faults, but to recognize that we all have them, each to a different degree, but to acknowledge them. Live simply. Now, don't misunderstand me. To live simply does not mean to live poorly or to live in total abject poverty. What it is to live simply. If you don't need this item or whatever it may be, don't get it. Use common sense. If you don't have room in your apartment for an 82-inch television, why buy it? Live simply. Be honest about yourself. Everybody likes to show people or let them see the side of you that is so great and wonderful, when really, to yourself, you have to be honest. Don't pretend. Be willing to learn from others. Now, you must be willing to learn from others who are smarter than you, who have already gone through a spiritual journey where they would be able to help you. Listen to people. Listen to them who are making the journey, because they have maybe experienced the same pitfalls that you are experiencing, the hardships, and they will tell you how to overcome them. Speak kindly of others. Speak kindly to them. Respect them as you would want to be respected. Accept others the way they are. Each of us is different. One may have a lisp, or they cannot speak properly. One may have different morals. They may live differently. Remember, by accepting others the way they are, it does not mean that you must condone their lifestyle, but to accept them as human beings who have within them the Spirit of God. Be centered and serene. To be centered and serene is to withdraw momentarily within yourself, contemplating on God and the presence within you. And that in itself will cause you to calm yourself, to become silent within, to recognize the presence of God. Then Benedict tells us, having done all these things, you will reach the love of God that casts out all fear. My brothers and sisters, acceptance of God, spiritual guidance and direction, acceptance of self and others is Benedict's prescription for a humble, holy life that we have all been called to. If we look at what Benedict is asking us, it is no more than what Jesus is asking us to do. We must start with the presence of God within us. We must ascend to the point where we can accept ourselves and everything else in life. We have been taught that God is something to be earned, and that God counts, but people and life do not, and that the spiritual life is about spiritual things. But the fact of the matter is this: holiness is made out of the stuff of the humdrum, the daily, the simple, the true. It is like the poster which I read that said, when we learn to bloom where we are planted, restlessness stops, dissatisfaction stops, the endless clawing and scratching for more and more, the different and the exciting and the being perfect, that I could never make a mistake, that stops. And all this and more stops. And when you learn to bloom where you are planted, life is a joy. God bless you.